Did you know that Visual Studio 2019 includes new and updated functionality to improve your Azure development experience? It has new project templates, improved syntax highlighting, and more. Michael Crump is here to give us a tour of what you can do today on Azure Friday. Hey everyone, Donovan Brown here with another episode of Azure Friday. I'm here with Michael. He's going to show us some of the new Visual Studio 2019 features that improve your Azure development experience. So we just launched 2019. I haven't even had a chance to download it yet, but I hear there's a lot of awesome features in there.
There is a ton of awesome features, especially for Azure developers.
Awesome. Show me some of them.
Let's do it. Let's jump straight into this. One of the things that you may recall if you were using like Visual Studio 2017 was that there was this more kind of a structure of you select a template, and from selecting that template you may have like a .NET Core app, maybe just a desktop type of application. With Visual Studio 2019, it's a lot easier to find what you're actually looking for, the project types that you're looking to create. Another thing is that kind of with the get started, it's straight up to, let's clone or check out your code. So obviously if you have anything there within your GitHub or wherever that you would like to take advantage of, you can do that. So, and also there's this button here, continue without code. Maybe you just want a blank instance of Visual Studio. Maybe you're going to use it for live share, which we may see in the future. So if I click create a new project, you'll see this is the new experience. Obviously I can scroll down through this and I can kind of see kind of all the project types, or I can come up here to project types and I can filter it down by cloud. Since I love Azure, and since this is typically the area that I'll be in, the cloud, this makes it a lot easier in order to find that template. And so if you look at like the different types of languages, you can even from there, like kind of keep filtering down. So whatever your skill set is, whatever you prefer, like working on, or you know you're going to work on with like Azure Functions, for example, it makes it a lot easier to get into that.
Awesome.
Cool. So why don't we, since we're already inside of this template, I'm going to go back and I'm going to select Azure Resource Group. Again, you can select it from this drop down as well. So if I click on Azure Resource Group, and then I click Next, I'm just going to leave the defaults here. One thing you will notice is that up here, this talks about the languages that this project is going to use. And you'll also see that if you're targeting things like with .NET Core for Mac OS or Linux, it'll also have those icons here as well, which is great for any dev. So if I hit Create here, and again at the bottom, you could even change your framework. There is a variety of different templates. So from like virtual machine skill sets to a service fabric clusters to our web app. But there is one in here that is one of my favorite, which is Logic Apps. So I can actually click the Logic App template. And since I selected cloud, you'll see in just a few minutes where it's going to ask me a little bit more information about my Azure subscription when I get into it. So I am going to maximize this screen for us, and this is actually the Logic app. And if you open it up, you'll see, there's all the parameters. This is the outline of each and every piece of this app, but this isn't very user-friendly. And we all know with Logic apps, we're used to just clicking through kind of a workflow.
But this right here, just to be clear, you've created a resource group project. This isn't the actual Logic app. This is the infrastructure as code necessary to provision the Logic app.
Perfect.
All right.
Absolutely. And you'll see that it even has this PS1 file, and this PowerShell script, will help you if you are getting ready to deploy this.
Perfect.
So if I go to logicapp.json, which it's created this template, I can open with Logic App Designer, and then from here, I have to provide a tiny bit of information to get into, to log in. And once I do that, you'll see that, now it's connected up to my subscription, my resources, and here is the Logic Apps front end. Wow. And what's really amazing here is that this is the same thing that you see that's automatically already in like the Azure portal, but I didn't have to leave my favorite development environment. I stayed in Visual Studio, and again, like from here, I can start building it out. I can go ahead and start adding my HTTP request. I can pull in the connectors, and if you save this out, you can obviously see the changes inside of your JSON file.
That's incredible, because that's one less context switch, as I like to call it, right? Every time I have to Alt-tab out of Visual Studio to go do something else, there's a chance that I'm going to get distracted, that I'm going to have to go check my email, I'm going to go have to do something that's just going to slow me down. But being able to stay focused inside of your IDE and not have to leave is just going to increase your productivity like nobody. It's unbelievable.
And even with that, when you are complete and you are happy with your Logic app, you can also deploy it directly again right here within Visual Studio. So I haven't left my favorite IDE, and I'm still being as productive as possible.
Interesting. And the changes you're making to your Logic app through this designer is just changing the ARM template that's going to be deployed eventually when you run your app. Okay, got it.
Exactly. It is getting it all set up and ready to go.
Very cool.
And again, it's perfect because I get my Visual Studio. Another thing, let me just switch over to a new project here. This project I want to show, like, this is the kind of the traditional ASP.NET core application that you may want to hook up to Azure. Here you can kind of see it has the languages here, like the Linux, the Mac OS, and like the web. I'm going to select a web application. You can see Docker support's already kind of like built in here. Once I hit create, I want to call out two big features of this that I think our Azure developers would really love to take advantage of. And one of those is the new syntax highlighting. The syntax highlighting is making it a lot easier. So for example, in like this sample, if there's some strings, you can see that the strings will be used by a different color. And so take advantage of the new syntax highlighting. You can also kind of customize your own.
Right. I used to do that in the past. I'm actually colorblind, and I would always have to go in and tweak them. And it's really nice to know that every one of the items that you just described, you can completely control how numbers are rendered, how operators are rendered, how strings are rendered. It's all customizable as well.
Yeah, exactly. One other nice thing here for Azure developers, or for really any of the developers, is that the new search capabilities, they're extremely smart. So if I am searching for like code definition window, obviously the first item will pull up here for like the code definition window, but you'll also see that we have a couple of different menus. We have everything, or we can narrow this down by just menus, or if there's components. For example, like if I am actually looking to install the code map tool, I can do that directly from there. And then also if there is templates that I would like to add to this existing project, instead of spending the time to try to find those, I can. And then even if you do like these little funny things, and I've tried a couple of these, even if you don't necessarily spell it right, it is automatically determining what would be the most common thing that word would match to.
That is going to save me a ton of time, because I'm one of the world's worst spellers.
Oh.
And I'm a bad typer. So you combine bad spelling and bad typing, I type words that no one knows what they're supposed to be.
I'm the same way. I absolutely am. One other quick tip is that when you're inside of this, and this is just a web application, and maybe I'm getting ready to like publish the application, sure, you can create an app service, which most people like know and love. But while you're inside of this dialog, what I get caught up in sometimes is that, I actually need a SQL database for this.
Okay.
Again, I don't have to leave Visual Studio.
Got it.
I can simply jump back in here. I can create a SQL database. I can provide it a name.
Right.
I can provide it a server. And that connection string will now be stored inside of that web project automatically for me too.
Got it.
I remember those days of like trying to put together a connection string, and it was so much work.
Yes.
I'm like, and they take care of that for me.
Got it. So this is the second time that you've shown that you can like right click and deploy or publish right out of here. So as a DevOps person, I will be flogged if I do not mention that you can also do all of this from Azure DevOps as a proper CI/CD pipeline. But there are times where I do right-click and publish. I'll perfectly admit it. So it's nice to be able to quickly get it out in there, make sure that everything's working before you go and you give yourself a nice pipeline. But it's kind of cool here too that oh, I forgot the database. Where's all this data going to be stored? And I don't have to stop what I'm doing to go ahead and add it, which is really nice.
I believe the saying was, friends don't let friends, right-click publish.
Damian Brady, yeah, exactly. So, and so like, this is like, wow, he said it twice and I haven't corrected him yet, so I needed to make sure I kind of get that out there. So yeah, there's two ways of doing this. This way, which is short and convenient and great.
Yeah.
There's also a more formal or more fleshed out way of doing it as well.
And absolutely,
Perfect.
that has to be covered. Okay, great. So one of my last features, or that I think our Azure developers would love to take a look at, is that live share. So now everybody else has kind of shown live share with 2 people.
Sure.
I'm going to demonstrate live share with myself. Because I don't necessarily have a friend.
Or you're so bleeding edge, no one can help you with your code but yourself. That's how far ahead you are than the rest of us.
Isn't that awesome? So the reason I want to show you this is that when you're working with Azure, you may be on that, a team, and you're trying to fix like a bug, and maybe there's somebody that you're working with that's located overseas, and
Sure.
hey, you need just a quick look, because maybe they wrote the initial application. So I clicked the live share button up here at the top. And what I'm going to do with this window is I'm just going to tie it to this part of the monitor. I'm going to come back to Visual Studio, and we'll actually take the continue without code. And here I will tie it to that side of the window. And I'm going to go File, and going to, oops, one more time.
There we go.
And I'm going to go File here, and then I am going to join Live Share Session. Again, this is the live share that it copied it directly from the clipboard. And what you can see over here is that web application, it's now pulling in just the parts that's needed in order for them to work with it. So if there was a bug over here in the program.cs file, and I'm in the CS file over here, and I'm like, hey, why doesn't, what's happening here? Why doesn't this run? As you can see, the cursor is on each one of the screens, and you can kind of see them live, potentially, fix this bug. So
I have to admit, this is the first time I've ever seen anyone live share with themselves, so I'm actually quite impressed. I wasn't sure how you were going to get that to work. But I've used this feature too. It's not only a great feature for our Azure developers, it's a great feature for anyone, because you can be on a Mac versus Windows, you can be inside of Visual Studio Code or Visual Studio.
Yes.
It's just an amazing way to pair program.
It is, and it's changed a lot of the ways that I program, is being able to, call on friends.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah. We are learning all about the new Visual Studio 2019 features to enable our Azure developers here on Azure Friday.